Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to a Some Assemblage Required video, which means I'm going to be using a few products from MK's shop. The first of which is that plaid paper you see underneath the kind of bubbly paper. The plaid paper is from her Forever Forest paper collection, and pairing it with a paper from Vicki Boutin's Artful Memories. And I really like the way that these two papers play together. I actually found that her MK's papers and the Artful Memories papers go together in many ways. So that's kind of a nice little surprise. And I just love the color palette between the two. So I'm really happy about that. And I'm going to just be using these in kind of small bits, maybe 3x4s or so. Mostly because that is just the design I was going for. It wasn't anything specific. I love the papers. Maybe because I want to hoard a little bit of the papers, I'm not using them in their, in full sheets or anything like that. So I did pull out a film strip from 49 and Market, and I ended up switching out the color. I originally started with this green color that was more towards the olive side, but I switched to this one that goes more towards the blue, so the cooler green instead of the warmer green. And the main reason for that is because the warmer green was actually kind of a one-off strip I had. I didn't have any other ones to match it. But the blue green, I had more of that, so that way I could put one on each page. Also, the blue green tends to match the plaid a little bit better, and it goes great with the Vicki Boutin paper also, so I'm pretty happy with it either way. I am documenting more of the photos of the kids at the park when the park was flooded. This is my little guy, and he is basically going down the slide and landing in a pool of water. You would have thought it was a water slide if you didn't know better, but I definitely wanted to document that, and I have more photos of him than I have of the girls, so I am going with a bunch of small photos on the left page, and I say small, they're all smaller than 4x6 to begin with, but I'm doing 4 3x4s or slightly smaller than 3x4 on the left page, and then a film strip on the, on the right page, and then a film strip on the left page. And then I'm going with these rectangle pieces across my page. I am going to be doing some mixed media below those or beneath those. And I'm really digging this so far. I don't know. I think it's really pretty. And the papers they just play so nicely together. So that makes my heart happy. So and then I'm going to go ahead and pull out some I think they're called Brusho. We were at a retreat, and MK was at the same retreat, and she has the Brusho colors from Colorcraft, which are very similar to the Lindy's Magicals or the Ken Oliver Color Bursts, or the Nuvo, I don't know what they're called, but the Shimmer Powder or whatever it's called. So they're very similar. They're water activated, but they start out as a powder. And I am using the yellow and the green, moss green. And I really like how they end up looking. Actually, I take that back. I'm not using yellow. I am using, let's see here. I'm trying to see what she gave me because, oh, maybe I am. I am using the yellow and the moss green, I guess. And I really like how they end up looking. So that's the yellow there on the screen. And then I'm going to add a little bit of moss green to it. And it doesn't look like much here, but once I get it all on there, at the end, it will all kind of come together. So there is a plan in my mind. And you may have seen, I said that was moss green. I am so wrong. It's Prussian blue. So Prussian blue and yellow, and the reason I use those two is because when they mix, they're going to make green. That's where my mind is. So Prussian blue and yellow, and then they're just pretty. I'm really into the powders right now, regardless of what what brand they are. These ones do not have shimmer in them like some of the Magicals do. I also have the infusions, but they're slightly different because they have a walnut stain undertone in them, which gives them more of a grungy look. So I didn't bring anything with me when we went to this retreat, but MK had a bunch of hers, and so she actually was repackaging hers like into a different type of container that would allow her to travel better with them, and so she gave me the leftovers that wouldn't fit in her container. So and now I have about 5 of those to play with. So I'm just adding some splatter, and I'm liking how that is coming together. I know it looks rather kind of convoluted, or I don't know. It's kind of like spread out, but you know, a lot of times I don't want to waste my mixed media on a page that's going to be covered up mostly by paper. So I'm not really going into those middle areas very thoroughly, and that is intentional. You may have seen me mark off where my papers were going with a pencil prior to doing this. So I'm liking how that's coming together. I think it looks really good. It kind of looks very, I don't know. It looks very light to me. But when all is said and done at the end, I'm very happy with the outcome. I do believe I do add a little bit more of the pigment with my water brush. And I am definitely distressing everything, as you can see here, using my distress tool from MK's shop. I think she still has those in the shop as well. And then I do use my little, I call it R2 Clean 2. It's just a mini desktop vacuum, which is great for picking up all of the paper dandruff. And I am just happy with the way that that works, because I can't stand the mess being everywhere. And, you know, on my clothes and on my arms and all over my desk. So yeah, the neat freak in me is super happy with that little vacuum. I can't even tell you how much joy that brings me. Okay, so I went ahead and got my pictures and papers where I think I want them. And then I grabbed a stamp that was out of a stamp set that MK had, because again, I didn't bring all of these kinds of supplies. I wasn't even sure what I was going to be working on. I did actually spend quite a bit of the retreat cutting cut files for 31 days of cut files, and so I didn't actually do that many layouts. But I'm using this little cut file, this little stamp, to just add on some more mixed media, and to kind of do it in a bit of a controlled way, adding it where I know I want it versus kind of just with the spray. And I also didn't want to wet my paper a whole lot more, because I don't know. I was just in a hurry and wanting to play and get my layout done, because I had some ideas that I wanted to get out of my head and onto a page. So that's what I'm doing. Yeah, trying not to just take the sprayer and spray my paper all over and wet it. Trying to have a little bit of self-control. Okay, so I went to the cut apart sheet from one of the same collection of papers, the Forever Forest collection from MK's shop. I pulled in this little library card and the label there. I'm happy with those, and those are going to create my little journaling spots. I am going to roughen up the edges of all of these beautiful things. And then I cut out 2 little word phrases, which I can't remember what they say now. Yeah, you're going to have to see those in the close-ups, because I did this at a retreat, you know, more than a week ago. So if it's more than a day ago, don't expect me to remember. That's terrible, I know. I did take more of the Vicky Bouton paper, and I backed it with some black foam, and I am I die cut it with a Sizzix die set of letters, and I went with this really childlike font, and my title is just Park and Puddles, because that's basically what it is. It's all about being at the park and playing in the puddles, which was really more than a puddle. It was more like a pool of water, but that's okay. They had a great time. And, you know, they were just embracing being children and enjoying the child like fun of just being wet and silly and having a good old time splashing around. So that's basically what this whole layout is about. He did get a nice surprise because uh, unlike the girls who are much taller than him and land on their feet, he slid right down and landed in the puddle up to his waist and was completely drenched. But he was a good sport about it. He's definitely a good sport about most things. Um, and so even having to ride his bike or walk home part of the way, he still was very good natured about having to do that wet. Although he was forewarned that if he got wet, he was still going to have to make his way home. I wasn't going to carry him. So, yeah, good natured little guy. And he had a blast. So, creating memories is what it's all about, I guess, right? So as you can see here, I've pulled over another piece, another one of those film strip pieces or film strip frame, and I am just putting that around this cute picture of him. I apologize you don't get to see his face, but for privacy purposes I have to cover up their faces. But he's got a ginormous smile on his face in this photo, and so I really wanted to give that photo a little special attention because he just was having such a blast. Now, I do have these acetate pieces. These are from, I want to say Wherever. Yes, they're from the Wherever acetate assortment from 49 and Market. And I decided to pull in 2 of those acetate pieces to create some layers. And then I am pulling in some inks to create some leaves. I am going to be die cutting these, and so I'm not concerned about full coverage or anything like that because they're going to be die cut into leaves. And the colors that I'm using are pine needles and speckled egg. So, you know, blue-green and blue with a tiny bit of green in it, and then green with a little bit of blue in it. And it's going to match really well when it's all said and done. I know it doesn't look like it right now, but once it's all said and done, I think it's going to be perfect. And then I went back in with the dried Brusho colors, and I just splattered them right over, picked them up with my water brush and splattered them right over the same paper that I'm die cutting out of. And so I'm pulling in some pine needle dyes, and again, something that MK brought. I think that's just kind of a thing that I do is I do bring a lot of stuff to a retreat, but I also really enjoy using some things that are not things that I brought because I think they're really fun to try other people's stuff, especially if they're ones that I have not used before. So there I've got some leaves, and I am just tucking them in, and they are a perfect, just like a lighter shade or lighter value of the teal that's in MK's paper, which I think is fantastic. I think it looks great. It also plays really well with the film strip and kind of draws it all together. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. I love the way that it looks. I'm also going to bring in some wood veneer pieces. I am going to bring in some wood veneer leaves as well as a wood veneer arrow. So I will be putting links to all of the products down below that I've used in case you are interested in those, not just the ones from MK, but I'll put the links to the inks as well, and whatever else I have used on this. I don't know if those dyes are still available for the alpha or for the title that I used, and but if it is, I will link it down below for you so that you can find it easily. So yeah, I am just using my liquid glue to hold everything down, and I'm really liking how it looks, just tucking in some leaves here and there. And I know my title is not super vibrant and bold or bright, but it does really stand out when everything is said and done, I know that it's a little bit more difficult to read on camera because it's the lighter of the colors, but I promise in real life it's very easily readable, especially since it's got the darker colored foam behind it. So I just did my do it yourself or DIY thickers by using the Fun Foam from Walmart that is sticky on one side, and I stick it to the paper on the back, and then I die cut my words out of it. So I did not show that on camera. I show that quite frequently in my layouts. So I didn't, this video is pretty long to begin with. So I went ahead and cut that out so that you didn't have to sit and watch all of that. Now I did trim my papers down by about, I'm going to say a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch on the top, bottom, and one side. I want them to meet in the middle because it's a double page layout, but I do want it to have a black edge on the outer edges. So I usually use my ATG to hold everything in place, and once I get it in place, I will use my liquid glue, especially on a layout that has mixed media, because otherwise those papers just want to curl up and they don't stay tacked down. But in this case, you know, I just use my liquid glue and I put my acrylic blocks on top of it to kind of hold it in place and until it sets up. So here are the leaves that I am using. I do not know the name of this leaf set, but as I mentioned before, I will put the link for it down below because I will get that before everything is said and done, so that you can go and find those leaves over on MK's site if you're interested in those, as well as the arrows. I think they look really fun and cool together, and I do love mixing her wood veneer products on layouts. I just think they're beautiful and add a really natural look to it. So that is it, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this one. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and you can hit the bell for notifications each time I put up a new video, which seems to be about 3 times a week right now. Thank you for spending time with me today, and you know, come back and see me soon. I will talk to you guys later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.